Welcome back to Adobe live from OFF Barcelona 2019. So I'm glad to see you are all in the chat still. So hi everyone, hi Munir, hi Haxel, hi Rana. And it's going to be really cool for the next 50 minutes. I'm going to be together with Nidia and Rik.
Hola.
I'm not going to try to say your last name.
You can try.
Oostenbroek.
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 But you were really close.
Oosten-
better than me.
Oostenbroek.
Good
Better
call.
than me, so-
You know what it actually means? It means pants from the east.
Pants.
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 Like
Pants.
Yeah, pants from the east.
Pants
Why
from
is
the
your name-
east. So I guess
why
you're.
is that name Pants?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Like,
don't know. Did you try? Did you like try to understand
I-
where in your family
It comes like from. It seems like pants used to.
come from the east?
This is.
Someone in
It's
your
like
family made
small
pants?
waters that come from the east. So
Okay.
it is water related because my country is obviously under sea level. So there's a lot of like.
It's the
shuffling.
Netherlands for those of
It's
you.
the
that-
Netherlands.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a lot of. It has something to do with that. Yeah.
All
for
right. And you, Nidia?
My last name
Is Dias?
is Dias, which means days.
Days?
So again, and I'm from Portugal. So
From Portugal.
so
okay.
that's why it's
so
written with an S instead of a Z.
okay. So an international lineup again.
Yes.
And both Rik and Nidia work for HP.
We're ambassadors. for-
Ambassadors.
Global
HP
ambassadors.
Global
Oh.
ambassadors. Wow.
Yeah, you gotta mention that.
Yeah. That sounds so much better than Creative Cloud Evangelist.
But Evangelist is a cool.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know,
That sounds fancy too. Yeah, we're having fun with HP indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great collaborators.
Yeah,
so.
that's great.
So yeah, so as you've noticed, we have the new machines here, the Z-Books. Yeah. And maybe we just do a quick little pitch about the Z-Book. You know what? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Because I use one of these ones that we're showing.
Okay, yeah.
So I like traveling a lot. So I need a laptop, and then last year HP contacted us, both of us, and actually
Yeah.
more for artists to help them promote the computers and he shows another one, and I wanted this one because like I
Okay.
like traveling.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stuck in a desk. So yeah, for me it was great. I got the Z-Book, and you can use it almost like as a Cintiq as well, so
Okay.
you can draw. And in my case, I do 3D, so it was great because they actually have an NVIDIA card, so I
All
can
right.
actually use it. So
Maybe we can have a look at that in a little while.
Yeah.
But of course, you're both artists, designers.
yeah.
So do you want to maybe talk a little bit about your background, of where you come from? How did you start? Let's talk.
It started earlier than me, so let's start with you.
I was like,
he always wants to be first, right?
yeah, no. Come on.
We see that on the thumbnail picture already, like the
Yeah.
angry
Yeah,
face.
yeah. it was
I'm
like-
not angry at all. I'm a super nice person. Oh no, that's weird to say.
Yeah,
No,
why
I-
would you say-
I'm a
He is
friendly
super
person.
nice
He is-
I'm a super friendly
I
person.
can say he's a nice person.
I started
Alright.
out when I was like 15 or something.
15?
15 years old, just out of a passion, you know, like we hang out in the Netherlands and sometimes we do stuff, and then my friends and I used to play video games, but at some point they had to go home in the evening, and I just was like bored, and I didn't want to play by myself, and I had a computer with no internet on it, so I had to do something with that.
Oh, and Stefan says, I love HP, I have one.
Nice.
That's great.
Powerhouse PC HP.
That's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like when I started. There's no specific background in terms of like. I was drawing in school, but not like
Yeah.
very realistically. It was more like abstract kind of doodles or whatever. So
Because we
that's-
have a lot of, in the audience, there's a lot of people who are just starting.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's always interesting to know how did the career start? How
Yeah, I think it's a lot like, it has to do with how do you spend your free time. I mean, like, whenever you're young, you don't really have like the big commitments, like paying rent or whatever. Like, you're probably still at your parents' place. You don't have to pay like insurance and everything. So there's no pressure actually. So whenever you use that time to develop yourself, I think that's like, truly, like whenever you're passionate enough, that should be like the real push to get into this field. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, and we're going to have a sneak peek at his presentation that he's going to be doing it off, like a little couple of slides. He's gonna show us.
Yeah.
Because I expect nobody here watching on the live is actually here at off, so
Yeah.
it works out, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Nidia?
I'm not that far off in terms of age. I started at 16,
Oh,
but I actually started more with web design. So I was more trying like the new internet age and all the stuff. So I was just trying to do coding, but then I realized that I needed to do some graphics for my website.
Yeah.
So that's when I learned about Photoshop,
Okay.
and after that I got hooked on it.
When was that, like 5 years ago?
No, that was, or I'm older than I look. I can tell you
No,
that.
that was a compliment. I said, I was there in 95.
Yeah.
I'm sure you weren't.
What was the first version of Photoshop you did?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
actually.
that's a good question.
That's a good question, but I don't know actually.
I think mine was like 6 or 7.
I was gonna say
Like
7.
CS.
CS.
No.
CS, maybe
No.
CS.
No.
Oh no, 7, 8.
Yeah, you had 7, and then it went
goes
CS,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So I
think
think I either did 7 or CS.
It had like this icon with an eye in it and some
It
like
still had the
feather
eye,
or
yeah.
something.
Oh, the
like
feather.
Yeah,
the I had
that's
the
that's
yeah.
my
So
first
that
one.
was CS.
Yeah.
Creative Suite.
Oh yeah, so that's one.
Yeah.
So that's the one I used, and I was doing just things for websites.
I
Okay.
downloaded it illegally though.
A trial, you mean?
A trial. I tried.
It means a trial. You got the wrong word.
Sorry.
And he used it for 30 days.
Yeah.
Because back then, it was 30 days.
Yeah.
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 And right
then,
now?
And then,
Is
then
it-
Rick stopped.
Yeah. And then I quit. And then I'm done with it.
All right.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, and then I went to university for graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as everyone that is curious, at the end of the last year, I was like, oh, there's a thing called motion graphics. Never heard about it. Seems cool. I want to do more of it.
Okay.
So then I went to Sweden to study.
Okay.
There for a year.
When Hyper Island?
Yep, Hyper. I was at Hyper Island in Sweden. And then got a job, like an interview in internship in London, and then got a job, and then stayed there for like 8 years.
Okay. And now you're back in Portugal, or you still live in London?
Great question. Everyone asked me that. I'm in between Portugal and Sweden because my
Okay.
husband is Swedish.
Oh, in Sweden. Okay.
Yeah, so he's Swedish and I'm Portuguese, so we're both deciding which one. So if someone wants to chime in with pros and cons of each
You
country.
should do a poll online and
I
just
should
let
do, like-
people decide. Like
Maybe
for you
that's the
guys.
best.
I think
It's
that's the
too
easiest because otherwise, yeah. Okay.
Well, how good can you use 3D programs on those HPs?
I can talk about this laptop,
Yeah.
and then you have the desktop, so
I got a
it's more
desktop,
powerful. I wanted the desktop obviously because it's more powerful because you have more space. But because I was traveling, and again because I'm still deciding between Portugal
Sweden and
Portugal,
Portugal, yeah, okay.
so I had to had a machine. So this one is I've been doing most of my work the last 4 months because I've been 2 months in Portugal and 2 months in Sweden. So I've been using the laptop for 4 months, and it's been doing great. I've been using Redshift on it as well. I do more like look development, so I don't do I don't have to do render like a full animation. That I'll probably say the Z4 is probably better for that because it has more
Yeah.
power.
It's a matter of time, right?
Yeah, but for
it's-
stills, it's it's been working great, and I've been doing projects in motion graphics, but I've been doing more like look development and style frames and initial things and directing. So for now, it's been great, and I was actually just before coming to OFF, I was actually getting some scene files from one of the artists that is working on the project that I am working at the moment, and I got his files, and I had to light it and shade it for actually animation. So no, it's been working great. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a good question, Huxel. What does OFF stand for? Do you know that?
I know it was something with Flash, because he was in back in the
Flash
days. He was
forward. No.
not. I know it was something
Fake?
about because
No.
it was before it was a
Yeah.
digital Flash
The
thing.
Online Flash Film Festival.
I got the Flash
Flash
rights.
film.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah. That all started back in the Flash days.
Yeah, that I remember.
Yeah.
I tried Flash. I did websites in Flash. I don't know why.
I never tried it.
It was you should have seen my website with
web.
animations. That was my when I was
I know,
16.
lots of people started out with
Gradients.
Flash.
Yeah.
Gradients was a trend at the time. There was gradients on the websites. I'm ashamed to say, but I did some gradients on my first website.
There's a lot. There's all stuff that we wouldn't show now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like Kim on stage. Like also yesterday during the live, he showed some of his very early work.
Oh, word.
Of which he was very proud of at the time.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh no.
No, I still have work online from 15 years ago, and whenever I look at that right now, I'm like, what was I doing? Well, it's funny that in the age of internet, everything is still there, everything.
Yeah.
That's really cool, to see it
you can't make it go away.
No, it won't. It won't ever.
But it's good to look back,
Just like
right?
a photo you guys use,
Yeah, someone found your. They Google your name, and that's the first picture.
Yeah,
Probably
that's the first picture
they
they
probably
use.
photos,
And Huxel also said, I also messed with Flash and ActionScript. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Back in the day, Huxel. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Rick.
What's
let's
good?
start with you. And let's give us a little.
What do you want?
Little-
What do you want to know?
I want you to talk. What are you going to talk about tomorrow?
Probably. I obviously know what I'm gonna talk about.
Probably.
I haven't done my presentation yet.
No, it's-
Well, no, this is.
No,
this would
I
be
just
me.
do it. I was like,
I'm a procrastinator, but
Yeah.
yesterday, thanks to the neuroscientist we had on stream, I learned I'm not actually a procrastinator. I'm an incubator.
Oh wow, I never
Yes.
heard that.
That's
actually.
deep.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it's not that I don't think about the things that I need to do. It's
Yeah.
just that I wait to the last minute to do them.
Yeah.
But the whole phase that I'm thinking is I'm incubating my idea. So when
Word.
finally I do it, I do it.
That's good.
Oh, that's, I
Yeah.
never heard
So my presentation, it's mainly like focusing on self
And you have your
development.
slides here, right?
I got my
Yeah.
slides. Like I can
Yeah.
go through
Let's-
like just
let's
a little
do
section.
it.
This is some blah 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 blah. Okay, we got the leaf blower slide over here. It's my favorite. I think it needs to load. Oh, does it load?
The what?
It
Does-
should load, but maybe you have to refresh it
Do I need to
because
refresh
we
it?
passed it from.
Okay.
Oh,
Can't reach this
okay.
page.
That's like
That's super interesting.
that sums up my.
That's a PDF, right?
Yeah.
So it should reach the page.
That's
Oh,
weird.
because you open it, it's on your computer and probably.
Oh,
open
it's
it.
on the stick. Somebody opened it. Oh,
Did
technically.
somebody open it from the stick?
You should start
I
with
can.
Nidia.
Okay, let's.
All right.
Let's
Let's
Nidia.
get the stick. Can
Let's
we
get-
get Rick's USB stick, please?
Because it's not copied on the hard drive. No.
Should I start or
Gracias.
should we wait for him? Do you wanna?
Well,
Okay, let's start with you.
All
You know,
right.
that was a dream for tomorrow, right? You wanted to start?
Well, I will actually start tomorrow.
You will start.
He didn't want to
okay.
start
Ah, okay,
tomorrow,
okay,
so
okay,
he was like,
perfect.
Nidia, you can
All
go
right.
first. You know,
Oh,
such
yeah,
a
it's like-
gentleman.
so
And
let's-
now he's like,
we
"Ah."
actually flipped coins afterwards.
Yeah, we did
and
flip
that
coins, and he
was-
still said that I was the
Okay,
first
so
one.
Let's start with you.
Yes.
You know, what is your creativity? How do you express it?
Yeah, so I don't have my slides here, but I'm going to show two of the projects that I will actually talk about tomorrow. And my theme of the conversation or of the presentation.
Nuno Diaz says, Nidia Dias in the house.
We're not siblings, but I like his last name.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
good.
you don't know Nuno?
No, it's like
Okay.
Diaz is a very common name in
Okay.
Portugal.
Oh.
Hola from Portugal.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about collaboration.
Okay.
So last year I've done different types of collaborations with different with artists. Like for example, this Me Permanent was a collaboration with different artists from all over the world. And I did, for example, a collaboration with HP, so a brand. So I'm going to talk about, for example, with Me Permanent. This was a project last year. Was the titles for the Me Permanent conference in Sydney. And Joyce, that she lives in New York, she's Australian. She was the one directing it.
Did you get to go to Sydney?
I wish. Oh, man, I wish. Don't tell me that now. I
That's
feel
the bad thing about
heartbroken.
global projects. You work on all these.
But
and-
Joyce went, so I
Okay.
was. But I mean, she directed, so it makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, so she had this concept about having this microscopic approach to it, because the theme for that conference was creative tension. So she wanted to have these microorganisms kind of in a beautiful way representing, and then the type was done by Worship, which I love those guys, and it was she wanted to have a bold type instead of the like usually untitled sequences. There's always like a small text, so she wanted to kind of go a bit around that and have like big bold. So she contacted like each person had like a section to do, and mine was what she called Act 3. So it was like about this like microorganisms, kind of like in a mandala kind of way. So I was designing the frames. So these are the frames that I created, and I also animated. So I'm actually doing more like style frames.
So you do the style frames.
Yeah, so I do style frames in art direction normally, and I used to do animation. That's how I started. I used to do motion design when I started in London. So I do know animation, but I'm just not that good at it anymore because I kind of stepped away from it into just designing.
Yeah. Stefan says, "Whoa, that looks amazing."
Thank you.
Yeah.
So these ones, what I did is like the biggest thing from this is that because I don't animate that often, instead of starting with a style frame, I actually started with Cinema 4D, and I started with like trying to get like figuring out what to do in terms of like how can I actually animate this in a good way instead of doing a style frame and not being able to actually animate it afterwards. So this is actually one of the first times that I did my process around.
Okay.
So I had to like kind of figure it out, okay, I need to animate it, so let's start by creating a system in 3D that I know how to animate, and then I will make it look cool. That was pretty much my thought. So that's what I did. And I have like a little video here, because this was like my first style frame, like the process I was just trying.
And
like
Nuno Diaz, again, says, Nidia Diaz is a beast. You should all look at her Behance portfolio.
I think it's the Portuguese community, you know.
Yeah,
like,
right, the Diaz.
yeah. The
Diaz.
Diaz, the Diaz. Maybe it's from my family. We
Yeah,
never,
maybe.
we
Who
don't know.
knows? You know, you have to do that DNA thing, like 23andMe or something.
Yes,
you know,
I
like
need to check that.
find out.
Maybe I'm connected to all Diaz in the world.
Most probably. You know?
But yeah, I have a little making of here, so it kind of shows like the progress, and then I can talk a bit about it. So let's see if it.
Oh, and Tim just put the link to your Behance portfolio.
Thanks,
That's
guys.
nice.
Let's see if it plays.
Let's see if it works.
Please.
It's always difficult with 3,000 people in the house.
Yes, internet here has been
Everybody
slow.
on the same
Everyone is
Wi-Fi.
like, yeah.
Instant follow on your Behance. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, I guess this won't play.
No.
Nah.
Yeah, it's all right.
You can watch it on your computers.
Yeah, it's probably going to play faster than here. But yeah, so pretty much I created a system in Cine 4D. And I made it my life easy, so everything is just procedural. So I don't have to like, if the director wanted some change, it'll be easy for me to change the animation. And we wanted it to be more like a jellyfish on the side. So I tried that with this kind of cables around it. But because we see it from the top, it actually didn't work when I actually make it look like a jellyfish, like the little tentacles. So we had to like animate. We actually ended up animating in After Effects the tentacles afterwards, and then I just made it look like 3D. So Joyce, she's more like she's like an After Effects pro, like expert thing. So she did the tentacles, and then I just made them look, and then I comp everything and made them look 3D. Like this, so I just
Did
made
you use any third-party plugins for this? Sorry,
in After Effects, that was 3D stroke.
Okay, yeah, cool.
In After Effects to get the look. And then in Cine 4D, the only plugin I used was one called Tripogen that creates this kind of structures. Like you get like a sphere or stuff like that, and it just kind of creates this more like interesting.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that's the one I did, and then I also did help with this one at the end. It's like a tunnel, so because my
Like a nebula.
yeah, so she did the nebula, and I did like all the particles kind of funneling down into a tunnel.
Okay.
And this one I used X particles first. So there was a lot of like particles coming into the thing. So yeah, so this one was
Also, Anel says, great work, Nidia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
And
this was...
Dunya also says, Dunya Sofia Jürgensen.
Yeah.
Or-
He probably could...
Yeah.
So, no, it's fine.
No, Jürgensen is what, Nordics.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Nordic, yes.
The typography is also really interesting. Yeah, you mentioned that
Yeah, it was
before.
Worship. Yeah, Worship.
Yeah.
They did that project with Ashtorp, the one for... they did some titles that are so cool. I don't know the ones, but yeah, they do amazing typography. So they were the ones doing it. So there was like Joyce, which was in New York. There was, for example, Davey Evans that he does in camera, like live action thing, but he does more like with paint. So it's very abstract paint and all that stuff. So you work on this as well. So this was like, if you guys that you have internet, go and check the video because there's so many different
Let's
parts.
try again.
Okay.
Oh, but just reload the page and just maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
What is it?
Can't you put in like the Vimeo link in the chat so people can check it
No,
out?
people have the link.
Yeah, they
that's
have
it.
the thing.
Okay.
I can try.
Maybe on a new page
Yeah, let's see.
because this has already the images. Just thinking ahead.
It's like the page loads fast, but it's just the videos. It's
Yeah.
like it's like.
Oh, but I think okay.
But you guys check it. It's like a 2 minute and a half.
Yeah.
Also beautiful music from Ambroise Yu. And the cool thing about this one was that the music was already created before we actually started animating. So when I was animating, I animated to the music. So that was great because it was something that was helping me animate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great.
And impressive, very thoughtful, also with a good amount of depth of field.
Yes, to hide a lot of the mistakes.
Yeah.
That's why I use depth of field. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke. No, but it helps.
Full transparency.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's like confession right now. Like I use depth of field.
The honesty is like, I had a lot of issues.
No, totally.
I had a lot of issues because I render every element separate because I wanted to comp it and
Oh, you do that.
but then what happened is that I was like working these after working hours because I was full time at the time, and I was so tired, and I just rendered everything, put it all together, sent to the director, and then she was like, "There's things intersecting," because when I rendered them separately, I didn't like account with that. So she was like, and I was so tired, and she's like, "Do you mind?" And I was like, "Of course, no worries." And I was like tired. I was like, "I just want a break." But it was I mean, this was the first project in that last year that was like coming to me to do whatever you want, and this style is kind of me as well. So I was very lucky because I do a lot of this abstract nature thing. So she showed me the brief, and I was like, "Yep, I'm in."
Okay.
So that was great.
Do you have do you want to show your Behance portfolio?
Yeah, I have here. I can actually. So yeah.
Also to get a little bit of the depth of your talent.
So yeah, so this is like a few of the projects I worked.
InDesign.
Yeah,
This?
Yeah, it is.
That's
Yeah, so the new InDesign splash is from me, but it's I do a lot of this kind of like abstract.
the new InDesign fashion from me.
You know, we were actually last year at Adobe Max when they released these things, and I was waiting to see it, and I didn't have my computer with me. I think I didn't. When they released it, we were at Adobe Max, and I left the computer at the hotel, and I went to the Adobe, like they had the section with all like InDesign and all the stuff, and I went there to open InDesign just to see it because I'd never seen it in the actual splash how it looked like.
Yeah.
I sent the picture, but I never seen it in the splash screen. So I went there like, oh, what is it? Let me see. But yeah, I do a lot of this kind of like structure.
Zoe Lang says, love the video, I just watched it.
Oh.
Yes, great. Yeah, so I do like abstract choral stuff. So this was like an experimentation, and then love glass. Don't know why, love it.
Open a couple of projects, like some things that that you're passionate about.
Yeah, so this one, it was for
beautiful.
This was some style frames that I did 2 years ago for a project for Game Awards, and the idea was having the faces. So I was just pretty much, I wasn't doing like full-on style frames for the story, but this was the beginning of the phase where you're just like experimenting different looks. So I started first with just kind of creating this. It looked like Groot from
Groot, yeah.
but then I was trying more with like actual glass, and this is one of my favorites. So I was just exploring like Cine 4D and how it creates like they have this fracture object. So I was just using it to create this kind of broken face, and then I just use glass on it and kind of like dispersion on it.
Yeah. So Tony says, I've actually been following your work without knowing it. Incredible. Yeah. And Omar, great. Groot and King of Night. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's a mix.
And Riz looks fantastic. What software is that? Cinema 4D, you said, no?
Yes, this is Cinema 4D. And then, this one was all full Cinema 4D. And then I just did a little like comping. Like you always go on Photoshop and or After Effects, and just if you like push a few levels and make it. But this one is pretty much straight from 3D. And then this was a close-up. This is actually a close-up of the previous one, so it's just a different camera. And again, depth of field helps.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a very good example of how Behance Portfolio should be done. You know, like not only show the like close-ups are so cool because they really give you an idea of the level of detail and attention to detail.
Yeah, and this one actually is fake depth of field. I'm gonna say it's fake. I didn't render this in 3D with depth because it was taking too long, and I was like, I don't have time.
You just Photoshop.
I use it the Photoshop one. That one is lovely. I love that one too. That one is so great. It's just like put the points where I want it to be depth of field, change, and then I have more control. So that's what I did on this one.
Also, Christoph says, great work.
Thank you. But yeah, so I did this kind of like glass stuff, and I'm actually planning on developing this. But I made a tutorial as well on how to do this look.
Okay, and where can you find those tutorials?
Should be on my website and here as well.
So
yeah. So
did you do a tutorial? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do so. Follow some. Maybe.
Yeah. So
Rik and Nidia, who work together, get to know each other.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We're having a good time.
Yeah, I try to make them like less than 5 minutes because I have a very bad attention span. So whenever I'm watching a tutorial, I always keep a lot of things. So I just try to make mine like straight to the point. That's it. Bye, guys.
Good.
But yeah, I think this was my first tip that I did. And it was really hard, but to do it.
And you know, just as Behance portfolios go, this is such a great, way to present it. Also with the dark background, and like this, and then also with this is the most important part, guys. This is really important, like to always write about the project, because that's the first thing I look at when I look at Behance portfolios. Yeah. And also very nice to quote whoever else is working on it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think it's important. Like for me, like I think it's great to see a little description at the beginning because you understand the project, and then you can just put the pictures. But because I might as well, like I like a lot of pictures because your eyes were like you always keep it but at the beginning it's always good.
Many people can do pretty pictures, but what's interesting is to see the process,
and
to
the
see
thoughts,
the things like that. And Stefan is asking you, how long did it take to render the glass ones? Overnight, he was sleeping.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
So at the time, actually, I was using Arnold, but now I use Redshift. But Arnold, because the CPU took a bit longer, and glass is not easy.
No,
It's not easy, especially with dispersion. Took quite a while, but yeah, you're right. I left it there over the night, said, goodbye guys, I'm having dinner, I'll send you something tomorrow. And I think I put both at the same time, but it wasn't actually that long as you expect because it's just a black background, so it's not much things, but overnight render, definitely.
Great. Let's look at another project.
We can talk about...
And then we're going to check the USB stick.
Yeah, we see if
I can do my Behance too if you want to. I got plenty
sure.
of my Behance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so this project was the one that actually where me and
Brought us together.
brought us together.
Oh,
not,
you
not like
worked
this
together?
not this
No, no,
image.
no.
We should actually do one project
We
together.
can do
We
that.
should do
Like
one.
do a collaboration.
Yeah, we should.
That would be
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be Yeah, so HP contacted us last year, me, Rik, and from other artists. And each one of us has our different styles.
Yeah.
And so we had to do this.
And different ways of pushing the machine.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true. And that was actually the idea. It was
Yeah,
to
yeah,
push
yeah,
these
yeah.
machines. So for me, the main theme for us was like the power to reinvent beauty.
The power team, yeah.
How to reinvent
Beauty.
beauty. Okay.
So yeah, so in my case, I was like, nah, everyone sees beauty in a different way. So what I wanted to do, and I called mine, I like to call my projects names because it makes them more fancy. So I call it craftsmanship. And yeah, the idea with this one is like, I like to see the process, like we were saying, like how people do something, right? And so many times, like you're saying, you look at the end result and you're like, oh, it's so cool, but how did people thought about it, right? So I wanted to encapsulate in one still like a process, so like a diamond in a rough. So I wanted to be more harsh in the left side and then going towards a more organic shape. So I did this with the Cinema 4D. So I sculpted a lot of bass.
Yep, a lot of bass in the big room behind
Funky.
us. But don't worry, the microphones pick up everything.
Okay,
like
great.
They pick up our voice. We can continue. We don't have to scream.
Nice. So yeah, I did like, because I don't draw that well, I actually started by sculpting the main shape in 3D. And then I render it in 2 passes, one which was more like rocky, and one that was more like glass, again, the glass. And then I just mixed them in Photoshop. And then I took some pictures of crystals, like this. So I took,
like for reference?
yeah, so, and to use as textures on Photoshop. So
okay.
one of the things they said, oh, can you implement as well some Adobe software? Like they wanted us to use a bit of everything. So I bought this in a store in Toronto. I took pictures of them, and then I used parts of them on like here, and like this is a little stone that you see over there, and then some of the bubbles. So it's a mix between 3D and then Photoshop. So I just added extra elements, and then here's the thing. So the HP is going to use these pictures or wallpapers for like promotional.
And this is this computer?
Yeah. So this
Okay.
computer can flip 360.
Okay.
That's why it's called a 360.
How
so
does it work? Show me.
Here?
Like, can you flip it?
Yeah, you can.
Ah, like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can
Okay.
flip it all the thing, and then you can have it in tent mode, so you can draw on this side,
Okay.
and then you can have it like, and
And
you can
here's
have it
the
as a
pen.
tablet. Yes, and you can have it as a tablet as well.
And it's.
So I did the tablet mode in the sofa.
I don't know. Where does it stick?
It's magnetic, so you can.
Okay.
Magnetic. But you can also have it here if you want.
Okay, yeah,
It's
alright.
like you don't have to over there. But it's I use it as a tablet because I was in the project.
Or a camera hiding device.
That is great.
Right?
I didn't thought about
Yeah.
that.
Like
Security.
this. Security.
Oh.
Yeah.
Security.
Yeah, that is
Privacy
great. I
thing.
didn't thought about that. Instead of putting a post-it, there we go.
That's good.
Yeah, so here, here it is. So here's the 3D, Cine
Okay.
4D. So that was like I sculpted, and then I rendered into 2 materials. And then
I think that's super interesting that you say I can't draw.
yeah, so now you want to 3D and sculpt it instead.
Yeah.
That's why I
And,
did.
and I think that's a very cool tip as well. Like you don't necessarily like, everyone has ideas to express and like many different ways to be creative. And many people say, but do I have to draw? Do I have to know how to draw? Well, drawing, of course, is a good exercise.
Yes,
and
you should-
and,
I
and-
wish I knew how to draw.
and should be trained almost on a daily basis.
Yep.
But of course, like it's cool that you're saying I can't draw, so I do things directly in 3D, and
Yeah.
that's perfectly fine as well. And I think that's a great bit of information.
Yeah, so I just sculpted, and then I went to Photoshop and just after rendering 2 parts of it, I just added like textures in there to make it more interesting. And and that was pretty much it on the project. Was using a few of those, and I used the pen and tablet mode to mask this because it's a tedious process to have to mask all these little things into the scene. So I was just like in the sofa watching some TV on the background
Yeah.
and just having my time. So it was quite fun because it didn't felt like hard work.
All right.
And yeah, so this is it.
Very cool.
But
very, very
I
cool.
let Rick talk a bit
Yeah,
because I feel
yes,
like I'm taking his
absolutely.
spotlight.
Yep.
So,
Alright.
all right.
Okay, should I go to my Behance or not?
Yes,
Let's swap.
why
let's
not?
swap.
Let's
swap.
do it.
Let's swap.
Let's swap. Okay, sorry, Nidia. Behance.com. There we go.
Also,
with
you're just
my
using
last
mine,
name.
right? You just destroyed mine. So
You
it doesn't-
destroyed yours?
You didn't even open a new tab.
Boom. So what do you want to see? I did this one for Adobe actually. Yeah. What? what do you want to say? Like, what do you want to know?
I want to know what type of illustrations you make, what inspires you.
Oh, that's a
and,
lot. Like,
I need
still
the
gonna
internet to be restored on this one, so maybe we can ask for some help
okay,
from
then,
your friend over
then
there.
I can put my
yes.
USB
Can
in
I?
it.
Can you?
If the internet is not working on
Can
that
you
one.
restore the internet on this machine, please?
I think
Thank
the
you.
password is wrong or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Oh, you got it?
There we go.
There we go.
What is that?
This is
Where's-
the
oh, that's,
explanation
oh,
of
that's
my name.
explanation.
Oh.
So now you get it.
The pants from the east.
The pants from the east. So okay, let's go back. Like I used to
Let's
do.
move a little bit more to the
Yeah.
center. Let's.
I used to do like lots of art advertising work actually,
Uh-huh.
where you see the briefing on the left and the end result on the right. So I kind of got fed up with that, and then I was like, okay.
Oh,
I'm- it was like
mainly-
productional work.
Yeah,
like
like-
you get a briefing from an advertising agency, and you end up like following it step by
Yeah,
step. You know. So at some point it was like, okay, what do I want to do? So, oh, this is loading. Yeah, I need to go like. So for me, it's like really like personal growth. Also where I want to talk about, but also like what's so important for me is like to learn something. It's like learning something new, getting new insights really expands your horizon, because like everything new you can apply to your skill set you already had. So that way you change your perspective like big time. So that's kind of like
I say when you stop learning, you might as well start digging your grave.
yeah, you
I
should.
never told you, but I had that image as a wallpaper for like a long time when I was in.
You had like
Yeah,
this.
I had.
This is
I
like
I love that one. I had it as a wallpaper, like when you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's how. See, I followed you for that long.
no. So yeah, I just
You make such a team.
I know, right?
we are. So yeah, I started doing like abstract kind of stuff, you know, Photoshop and Illustrator,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
combining that, like super flat, I would say, but nobody really understand it. Like I was used to get like money from ad agencies, and when I started doing this, nobody wanted to work with me anymore because they simply didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Like it was just more of an expressive kind of thing
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
instead of like a sales thing. So I was like, okay, how can I apply things like create a sort of realism, like how do I make people understand what I do and that it actually has a purpose. So making money out of my passion, that was kind of like what I really
So you
tried
made
to
the
do.
owl.
I
People
made
understand
yeah. Oh,
that.
and I got some like slides down
Okay.
where people ripped it off like big time. So I started to apply that like to different things. Like I'm really like a sucker for color and organic shapes. So then I started to grab like this is like 4 colors, and they give you
Yeah,
a
yeah.
restriction. Yeah, Rick, do you want to do this magazine cover? I was sure. Yeah, you can only use 4 colors because we have a different printing technique. And I never touched Illustrator before, so that way, like you can like apply the forms you were doing here
Yeah.
in a different way, and it changes like you're like you really have to be keen on contrast. Like how do you create depth? How do you like not make a mess out of it and
Yeah,
still
yeah.
balance it out? So that's like super like rewarding to use Illustrator as a tool as well. So this was like mainly vector. I used adaptive field too.
And Munir says, "Wow, finally we see Rik live." Yeah, I'm just gonna have to just scroll up up the chat because we lost the chat for a second. Okay, so we were here.
Yeah, we're
Nidia is great from Stefan. And Rickard Gunnarsson says this is flipping amazing, and I think this is.
yeah, it's still you.
Well, it's you.
oh,
No,
I don't know. I have
both
no
of
idea.
you. You know?
But it's more like yeah.
Uh,
It's never too late to pick new things up.
Yeah. Nidia's way of representation looks so awesome. Good to know how you think. What is the best proposal for a graphic designer wife? A lifetime subscription of Adobe apps here. Oh, okay. that's a joke. Okay.
It's an Adobe joke.
Yeah, it's an Adobe joke. All right. Come on. I can do it. All right. There we go. Okay. And okay. Perfect. Let's. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, your work looks amazing, Rik. Greetings from Holland. And then I don't understand.
Snel and Beauty Puck. He wants to grab a beer with me.
Okay.
I love grabbing beers, so
Yeah,
that's
okay,
good.
yeah.
Let's do that.
That's the first thing Rik asked me here.
Where's
No,
the
no,
beer?
come
Where
on.
is
The
the
stage,
beer?
he
Stop it.
Where is
Stop
the beer?
It's nice weather outside. Yeah, so but I think like expanding your skill set is like so important. Like it doesn't make you lazy, and by uploading that, like clients see it and they kind of like you challenge yourself by uploading projects that are a bit out of your comfort zone. So, like I didn't know 3D, and this is actually like the same thing. Like I just extruded in 3D, and it's like so
In
obvious.
3D or with Illustrator?
No, this is Illustrator, so I made the
okay,
base in
okay,
Illustrator,
okay.
and you can easily like
Yeah,
export your shapes or
yeah.
whatever, and you can apply that to like in a 3D world. And this is like, as you can see, like it's actually the same thing, but in a total different perspective. And I think that's like super interesting to do that with some animation, but I won't play. But the same with this, like it's actually the same kind of shape, but you just, by changing its perspective, you always learn something from it, and it can be super rewarding. Like you can do typography, but you can also do like typography in 3D, and then you do some laser cutting, and that's like a super, like that's what I always try to do, like look for that like little thing like I don't know yet, and try to challenge myself by doing it differently than I did before. So like not getting bored is like super. I don't want to settle like on one thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of yeah.
And I think it's great how you found a style that represents you.
Yeah.
And then you basically fought for it, right? And you said, like,
yeah, I literally didn't have work for like 16 months
yeah,
or something
exactly.
like that.
But you walked through the desert.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but that's so true.
And I think this is a very important takeaway here is that success doesn't come immediately.
Never.
It's very infrequent. It does happen.
Yeah,
like sometimes it happens, but to the vast majority of us, it takes time.
It takes
to
time
get
and effort,
established
and it's always ups and downs. You
and
know,
also
like
to find your own style, to find
but
your own.
you can only find it by trying multiple things,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly.
Like when you don't try, you'll lose. Like nonetheless. So yeah, that's kind of like where I want to talk about. Like at OFFF, as also like approaching like client briefs in a way where you can like challenge a client. Like the client actually wants this, and I'm like, nah. Why this again, you know?
Yeah.
So why don't we try something like on the right?
Yeah,
And they bought it, and that's like great. Like finding these little challenges because I messed around
But
with.
did you show them something similar as well?
I did.
I did
Literally
both.
showed this.
Okay.
And I convinced them to go that way, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's also like you can get inspired by the internet. Like the internet is a big medium nowadays, where you can just like sorry, I can't show the nipple.
No, it won't use if you.
Okay, I'm gonna hide it.
Hide it. Okay.
No, it's like sometimes it's very like you see something cool. And you try to apply that, like somehow you take like the beautiful things, like or bits, and try to apply that to your work. So it actually reflects the things you like. And I'm just talking about the light over here. Like I loved like, and I didn't try that, so I just wanted to try that and just apply it on like a shape that's like quite random. So yeah, that's kind of like what I do and what I talk about. So yeah, that's like I don't know if you want to know more.
Yeah, like maybe like if we go to your portfolio.
My Behance,
One thing that I always find interesting is how the things you started with.
Yeah. Like going to the
like
old
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's like, and you notice like the resolution back in the days was so different. Like you uploaded like super small, like it's this. Like, look at the proportion, it's like ridiculous. Yeah, I used to do like, and that was back in.
When was that more or less?
I think like
Maybe
9 years ago or something like that. That was like,
Okay.
yeah, it's like.
That's very Dutch.
Why is this Dutch? Because why is
with
that
the
Dutch?
typography, with
That's true.
With the
We
structure.
have a very like wide, like it's very graphical, like very like hard shapes, and I actually totally stepped away from that. But over here you can see like the first 3D ones.
Yeah.
I think those were even stock images. Like I was
Just
working a lot with
experimenting.
and that was like. And I think Behance was just new back then, so I wasn't like taking the presentation too serious.
Yeah.
As you can see, like, and this was all like the abstract things, like.
There's a couple of questions for you. One from Bogdan. What software do you use for the 3D paint effect? Like for the shoes?
What software?
Yeah.
It's just actual paint and it's photograph.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like, I mean, like doing physical stuff can be super rewarding.
Can we see it
especially-
again?
You want to see? I got another project. With
Okay,
that. Like
that's similar?
I'll pull this one out. Like it's all photography actually, and it's just like I photograph it and I mask it out in Photoshop, and then I add little touches of
But
that.
isn't that great that people think it's 3D?
Yeah, someone was like, "Okay, you make a music video for me in this style," and I'm like, how do you want to do that? It's like,
Stop motion.
yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, and I mean, like, I'm not a painter, I can't paint, but I get inspired by let's see, like, I love this. He's from Spain actually, like Iago Hortal. I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly.
Iago
Iago Hortal.
Hortal.
Yeah. So like, yeah, but that was like,
Yeah,
I was
sounds
like,
very
damn, that's like so cool. Like, so yeah, and whenever like I use these assets like for 2D combined with typography, so actually like it's the same process again.
Ah.
And then I was like,
That's
okay,
so super interesting.
I can also take it to 3D. So it's actually the same like physical, like, oh, you see me painting over there. Does this work?
It will
I think
work.
this was my first
yeah.
Behance feature or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I was on the main page and I was like, oh my god, you're so awesome. no, that was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting featured on Behance is
It's like a big
success.
Yeah,
it's a big thing nowadays.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, so it's the same kind of learning curve you apply. Like, okay, you did something, but how to apply it in a different way. So this actually kind of relates like to like paint as well, due to like the structure of it,
Oh, okay.
and also like to Antelope Canyon. Like, I've never been there, but I love that. Like,
Too? Yeah, the Antelope Cave.
Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
no, this is the first thing that I thought. Oh, that's a cool picture of Antelope Cave. Oh, but no.
yeah, I really want to go there at some point. So yeah, that's kind of what I do, and I just try to evolve, like not on a daily basis, but at least like whenever you see like that, where it was more like flat, I guess.
Let's have a look at one of those typographic things, like
Stay Gold. I did a
Gold.
collaboration with Fabian De Lange back in the days. It's like also pretty old school, I think. Yeah, and he was like a typographer, and he was like, okay, I don't know what's there, pa 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 pa.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's not.
You didn't put that there?
No, I think he did.
Okay.
We used to listen to this song, and I don't know. We just had a shared playlist, or that was back in the days while you didn't have Spotify. So I used to send him like MP3s, and he used to send mine. So we were probably vibing to this track, and we were like, oh, we got to do a collaboration. So that's pretty cool. Like I mean, like the detail is quite crazy. Yeah. So I did some more typography. Which is more like solo work, but that was like, yeah, it was just fun jams, you know? It's such a low
You
resolution.
do
Yes,
36
it's
days
very
of type? No, you don't have time this
I don't have
around.
time this time around. I usually do that. I like those people too, like Nina and yeah, so that's like kind of what I do, and sometimes I try to bring like things together where I use like Photoshop, Illustrator, and 3D at the same time, and smash it all together into one project. And it's cool whenever that happens for client work. So that's like super rewarding.
So how? Tell us a little bit about this project.
I did a time lapse for that actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got like approached by, was it Universal or Paramount? Who?
Yeah. Don't.
Sorry. No, yeah, they approached me, and I was like,
I got approached by a studio.
I got approached by a studio, and they asked me like to do like a promotional poster for this film without like using actual film assets. Well, the film is like CGI, so I was like, they had like actual like Scarlett Johansson 3D models.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I would love to play around with that, but no, I couldn't do that. So it was more like an exploration kind of modeling, like extrusion kind of thing, like I never done. And
We have some cityscapes in it as well.
yeah, it's just like reference of the future,
yeah.
reference to the modern like Japanese like Tokyo vibe. I've never been to Tokyo, so it was all like a wild guess because
Have you been now?
No,
Oh.
and I didn't see the film, so
Okay.
that was like super weird, like to like just kick it and take it from there. So it was more like an exploration kind of phase where. At first, like I was like, maybe should I do it clean? But then it was like, nah, it's quite a dark movie, and I didn't know that. So I just had like the promotional poster to work with, and then I made like a time lapse out of it, like how I created it. So whenever people want to
let's
see
see if it loads.
probably not.
No. Okay.
No. Okay. So yeah, that's like
We give up quickly. Okay.
and some close-ups over here. So yeah, that was fun to do.
What?
Oh, because it's Edge.
Ah. What did he say?
Google Chrome.
I think we have to use
Ah, okay,
Chrome
okay,
instead
okay,
of,
okay.
Edge.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't worry.
Okay, so
you
that's,
can watch the videos on
yeah.
on Rik's Behance page.
Yeah.
And I love also like in your case, Nidia, like the close-ups and things. I think these are so important when you showcase your work.
It's
on,
very
on
important
Behance.
to like
because
present
it goes so much detail into it. Like sometimes when we're creating, like I do myself, we go so close up, and most people probably won't see it. So I think that's why we put those close up. It's like, hey, actually, there's details there that we.
Yeah, but it's also nice to like really treat it as a presentation. I mean, like people like see this and they're like, okay, yeah, I put a bit of effort in making it look nice, or at least like make it bland. So like always for the darker projects, like letting them blend into the background, which is always like nice whenever you like it looks like an isolated object like that way.
Almost
And
looks like the Mexican death masks.
yeah, that was the inspiration for
Okay.
it. No, but like I try to like
Muerto, okay. That's, I'm Swiss, I'm slower.
That's okay. No, but it's very nice. Well, it's pretty hard to present it like nicely in a clean way. But I always try to like.
Oh, definitely.
Kind of.
Every
reference to the project.
Wow, this is also awesome.
This was for IDN. This was also for a Japanese project actually. So that's weird. I've never been. So yeah, but it's also
And
nice.
This is not 3D.
No, yes and no. Yeah, it's 3D. I rented out like a standard face.
Yeah,
And
then
I just like
mask it out.
mask it out in Photoshop, and actually like did the sketches in Illustrator as you see over here, where it's still very flat, and then I bring it to life like with mainly just like brushing over it, like creating depth in the flat shape. So that's like really.
It's missing the depth of field.
What? No depth of field. No depth of field. So yeah, that's
all
me.
right. And it's so cool to know that you're HP ambassadors, and that I find it very cool when big companies such as Adobe or HP actually invest in creativity and support creativity.
Yeah, that's super good. Like they treat us super well, and we're like free to create whatever we want to for them. So that's like super cool.
And they're like they're always asking us what can we improve on their machines as well, which I think is also great. So like they really want us to push them and say
and get feedback whenever we're
were you
like
able to break them?
Not yet.
No. Not yet. Well, that's a good sign, no?
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah. Awesome. And so your talk is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited about that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He's thinking I should have been first, but
this was almost like a little rehearsal, right?
Yeah. One more thing, we have the happy hour.
Happy
hour. The hotel. This is just
so
for the off.
Come to Barcelona. I was going to say, come to Barcelona.
Whenever you have a friend, tell a
come
friend.
to Barcelona.
Spread the word. We have a happy hour on the rooftop from 8 to 10 tomorrow.
Free drinks.
Are you coming?
From tomorrow, well, why not? Let's see.
Free drinks.
Free drinks.
Free drinks. Okay. I'm going to put it here.
And food.
All right.
Okay.
So, one last key takeaway from you guys about OFF, about your experience here.
I mean, this is my third year. You've been much
I've
more
been
here, but it's great.
This is my 6th time, I think.
Okay.
You always bump into people that you know. And
we've never met before?
We met in it.
No,
we.
Oh, we.
Yeah, I've been to every Max since, I don't know, since it was somewhere else.
Yeah, I've been there. Well, I haven't been to Lisbon. I think the year after Lisbon was the first year I got here, but it's funny because I actually met a Swedish guy over here, like back in the days, and I just ran into him and grabbed a couple of beers with him too. So that's really nice. Like it's a very good vibe to connect and pick up like lost connections.
It's
so
definitely a good place to be here at OFF 2019.
Yeah. Come. You guys should come.
And we're gonna have to part ways. Thank you so much for for swinging by and showing us that cool work you're doing on these cool machines.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Gracias.
Zibo.
Zibo.
So you stay here. We're going to be back in a second with Javier Rodriguez Garcia from Studio Lobulo. So stay tuned. It's not over. Okay. And thanks again. Bye.
Thank you, man.
Bye, guys.